Hello there, Tina. Are you there? I just had to talk with you about something rather quickly if you had the time. You do know about the family vacation that we're all going to be going on soon, don't you? I was just curious if you were actually thinking that you were going to be coming along with us. I guess what I'm really trying to ask is that you don't really think that you're a part of this family, do you? Because if you do, then I really just think that you need to wake up and face the real world. You are a nobody to us. You're nothing. And you are certainly not, nor will you ever be a member of this family.
Hello, Rachel. It's just so lovely to hear from you. Thank you so much for double-checking my schedule. Yes, I was, in fact, thinking of going on the trip, if you must know. After all, you were all going to go in our car, isn't that right?
Yes, we were going to use your car, but I don't see why you think that that gives you a right to come along with us. I mean, do you really need to tag along?
Well, it's been a long, long time since my husband and I have gotten to take a trip. But I remember that Dan mentioned wanting to stop at a nice brewery that was going to be on the way and asked if I wouldn't mind driving so he could drink a little. So actually, another reason why I was going along is to make sure that everyone can have safe, responsible fun. You actually have nothing to worry about, you see. I'll be the one driving.
Oh, please. What kind of stupid little excuse is that? Is that really the best you can come up with? You think you deserve to go with us just because you can drive? Anybody can drive, you know?
Sorry, did you even read the other messages I sent? Or did you just zero in on the bit that you didn't want to hear?
Don't you get smart with me, young lady. I just want you to realize that you are not a part of our family and you never ever will be. So quit trying to force your way into this vacation when you don't even belong. Don't you understand how rude you're being?
I really don't think that I'm being rude at all. If anything, you're the one trying to put me down and make me feel bad. But I'm afraid if you're not really going to change your mind about me at all, then all I can ask that you do is just have the patience to see the trip through to the very end. After all, it isn't like we all go on trips all the time together or something.
Well, of course we don't all take trips together more often. Who in their right mind would want to go anywhere with you, huh?
I fully understand what you're saying right now, Rachel. I have my own thoughts on the matter as well. But I don't think that we should be having this conversation via text. Maybe we could meet in person and talk? Because otherwise, I'm going to pick you all up in the car tomorrow at the time we all agreed on.
I just don't get what my little Dan was thinking. I mean, what drove him to marry a no-good, nasty woman like yourself? Not only is your personality awful, but you're older than him as well. I mean, you must have so much patience in dealing with you. You know, he used to date gorgeous women who were younger than him and knew how to show respect to their mother-in-law. Maybe if he had married one of them instead of you, then I would finally have a grandchild by now.
Sorry, are you talking about the ex-girlfriend that Dan had who stole all of his money and then ran away?
I don't really know all the details of why they broke up, so don't go quizzing me about my own son's love life. All I'm saying is that my son would be much, much, much better off with a woman who was younger than him.
If all that matters is age, then I guess that means I'm better for Dan than you are, isn't that right? Or am I misunderstanding the point that you're trying to make here?
Of course that wasn't what I was trying to say, and you know that. Ugh. You really can be such a frustrating person to deal with, do you know that? I knew that I should have never ever allowed my son to marry someone like you.
Oh, I know exactly what you meant, but would you like to know how? It's because you've complained about my age to me over and over again. I mean, aren't you bored of having this same conversation all the time? I don't even need to guess at what you might say next, because we've already done this several times.
And I'll say it as many times as I need to for you to get it through your head that you were too old for my son and that you were never going to be a part of this family. If you don't want to hear the truth about the matter, then you can just pack up your bags and leave. Otherwise, I'm going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing until you're at the very end.
The very end? What are you talking about now? The very end of what?
The very end of your wits, of course. And then you and Dan will finally get a divorce and I can start working on trying to set this family straight again. That's all I really want out of this.
So basically you're telling me that your whole purpose with treating me this poorly is just to get me to divorce Dan? Well, I don't know how many times we're going to have this conversation in that case. But if you are going to be saying the same things over and over again, then so will I. And I am telling you for the I don't even know how many time that Dan and I aren't getting a divorce, okay? So don't bother waiting, don't hold your breath, and don't think that any kind of miracle is going to happen for you.
Well, we'll just see about that, won't we? I wouldn't be so confident if I were you.
Well, I don't need confidence when I know that Dan and I have no intention of splitting up ever. I just know it won't happen. Anyways, if this is all that you're going to be saying to me now, I think I've had my fill and I'll be taking my leave now. I'll see you tomorrow when I go to pick you up with Dan. Hey, you were standing right behind me, weren't you? I know that it was you behind me in line. You pushed me into the bathroom and were holding the door closed so that I couldn't get out?
What on earth are you talking about? I didn't do anything, dear. But I guess it was bad fortune that someone just let that big, heavy crate slide right in front of the bathroom door, trapping you in there. But at least you won't have to worry about needing to use the toilet since you're going to be stuck there for a long, long time.
What is the matter with you, Rachel? Is this supposed to be some kind of prank or something? Because it isn't funny. What are you trying to pull here?
Well, isn't it obvious? I was just locking you in the bathroom, that's all. I sure hope someone comes by soon to let you out of there, though.
I don't get it. Why would you do this to me? I mean, Dan and I go to pick you up in the morning so that we can all enjoy going on a little vacation together, and you lock me in the bathroom? Are you really just going to try and keep me trapped here while you just drive away? Do you really think that you're going to get away with this? You've gone way too far right now.
I think the only person that was taking things too far was you. I told you that you were not welcome to come on this family vacation of ours, and you just didn't listen. But now at least we'll finally be able to enjoy ourselves in peace, without you.
Well, I'm so happy that you're pleased with yourself right now. But just how long do you think that happiness is going to last? Hold on a second. Why can't I get a hold of Dan? Why won't he pick up my calls?
Well, that's because I told him that I'd hold on to his phone for him, of course. And then I'm going to tell him that you told me that you had an emergency come up. And I'll tell Dan all about how you had to leave early and called a taxi to come and pick you up. And then we can get on with our vacation and you can have fun waiting for someone to rescue you from the toilet.
Are you kidding me? Please tell me that you're not serious about that. Have you guys already left? Did you really just abandon me here?
That's right. We're on the road far, far away from you now. So your fate is out of our hands now. I just hope that someone comes along soon to let you out. Otherwise, you could be in there all night.
So you're sure that it's a good idea to just leave me here then? Is that really what you want to do?
Of course that's what I want to do. What kind of question even is that? I thought I made it clear that I didn't want you coming on this trip at all.
All right then, fine. Have it your way. But just don't say that I didn't warn you. I hope you both get where you need to be safely.
Dana, are you there? I really have something that I need to talk to you about right now. Where are you? Please tell me.
Let me guess. Things went exactly as I thought they would for you. I heard all about how maybe an hour after you left me, you got on the freeway and ended up in a huge accident. I just hope this serves to teach you a lesson about what you did.
But where is everyone right now? Where are you? Where's Dan? Is Dan okay?
Dan is fine, actually. You were the one who sustained the worst of the injuries. But honestly, just what were you thinking? I mean, You realize that there wasn't anybody else to drive, right? I was coming along because I would have been the only other person capable of driving. But then you just had to go and pull your little prank and put our family in danger in the process. Tell me though, was it worth it?
You have no idea what you're talking about at all. I was in the car. I know how to drive.
Oh, really? Do you? Because if you did know how to drive, then just how did you all end up in that accident then, huh? I mean, you're lucky that you got away with just having your hip broken. You could have lost your life. Don't you realize that? You were acting like a complete idiot, and lo and behold, something bad happened to you.
What did you just call me? How dare you say that to me when I'm the one who got in an accident? I mean, sure, it had been maybe a decade since I last ever drove, but still, a car is a car and I know how to drive. I just didn't think that there'd be so many other cars. And I forgot how fast you have to go on the highway.
So basically, you didn't know how to drive, is what you're saying then. In fact, is your driver's license even still valid? Or were you just driving around with an expired license? You know that means you could be arrested for what you did, don't you?
Wait, what? You think that I'm going to be arrested?
I mean, you were the one who was behind the wheel of the car. Who else would be liable? Dan and your husband were drinking, so they weren't going to drive, and the only sober person there was you. But you clearly don't know how to drive anymore, and you don't even have a valid license. You were driving, you caused the accident, it's your fault.
But that isn't fair. It's not like I forgot how to drive. Besides, it's not my fault that I can't get a new driver's license. It's those darn people at the DMV who refuse to renew it for me.
That's right, I'd almost forgotten about that. I remember you mentioned that before Dan and I were even married. You mentioned how you told me that you would never be able to renew your license again. Not only did they think you were getting too old, but you had too many strikes on your last one.
But it isn't fair. They sent me to their stupid little driving school. I took all their classes and they still had the nerve to not give me a new one. Surely you must agree that this is horrible, right? I mean, who are they to tell me that I can't drive when I know that I can drive perfectly well? Am I really going to be arrested just for a little fender bender?
Fender bender? Rachel, you are literally in the hospital and unable to move because of the accident that you caused. Not only that, but you could have seriously injured your son and husband. How can you be so focused on yourself when all that might have happened?
Well, I guess that does make some sense when you put it that way.
And that's why I was telling you that I needed to be there to drive. But you had to act completely delusional. You locked me in the bathroom and then just drove off without me.
Please, Tina, there's no need for you to take this kind of tone with me. Don't you think I've already been through enough with all of this? You must know that I never ever wanted any of this to happen, right?
I don't care what your intentions were. Who even gets in a car thinking that they intend to cause a crash anyways? I'm not blaming your intentions. I am blaming the thinking that led up to it. You acted completely irrationally and got your family into a car accident. And that's not saying anything at all about how you locked me in a public bathroom and then just abandoned me.
But I just wanted to take a vacation with my family. Is that really so bad?
But you didn't even get to have that vacation. You all didn't even make it to the destination we were all supposed to be at by now. Why couldn't you have just waited until we all got there before you started trying to bully me? I understand that you didn't want to be around me and that you were worried that I was only going to annoy you, but surely being annoyed has got to be better than being injured. And to think that this is going to be the last real memory we have together before Dan and I cut you out of our lives entirely.
Wait a second, what are you talking about? Why would you and Dan cut me out of your lives?
I've already talked to Dan about it, Rachel. I told him all about the horrible things that you say to me. And now, with all that's happened for the vacation, he just can't tolerate you any longer. In fact, he was already going to talk about this with you before we even went on the trip, if you must know.
Hold on a second. Now that you mention it, Dan did say that he had something important he wanted to talk to me about. You're telling me that this is that. He wanted to tell me that he didn't want me around anymore?
That's right. And there's one more thing that you should know, Rachel. I'm pregnant.
Wait, what? You've got to be kidding me. Why am I just hearing about this now?
You're only hearing about it now because I know that letting you know any sooner wouldn't have been good for me or the baby. I mean, do you have any idea just how stressful it already is talking to you like this? I knew that if I told you I was pregnant, you would be trying to control my life. I talked to Dan about this and told him that I don't know how I was supposed to go through with this if you were going to be constantly breathing down my neck about every little thing. So we talked and said that the best thing to do would be to put physical distance between us all. So we're going to be moving away.
But this is all so much. I can't handle all of this news at once. How is this happening?
It's happening because we didn't want you to know a word of it, but now that we're about to cut you out of our lives anyways, it doesn't really matter. That, and you never even gave me a chance to speak about my life to you. You were always just interested in putting me down. But now you've gone and made a mistake that can't be undone. And in doing so, you've confirmed every fear about you that I've had. And you've shown your son and husband that you're nothing but a mean bully who doesn't deserve the loving family she has.
But wait, Tina, please. If you're pregnant, then this changes everything. I mean, can't we just pretend like nothing ever happened? We can just put all this behind us, can't we? Why didn't you ever tell me about this?
I literally just explained to you why I didn't tell you. Did you even read the messages that I was sending you? I told you that you were just going to try and interfere with our lives even more if you know that I was pregnant. Dan and I were going to use this as the chance to cut you out of our lives. That's why you didn't know about it until now.
But then you mean you're not even going to let me meet my own grandchild?
Well, it's going to be hard for you to meet them anyway, if you're behind bars for what you've done.
Please don't say things like that. Huh? You really can't think that they would throw an old lady like me in jail.
I'm sorry, but the law is the law. Do you really think that you're above just because of your age? Either way, you're not going to be our problem anymore. We want nothing to do with you ever again, and we are going to be cutting you out of our lives. Whether or not you get arrested after this, it really makes no difference to me at all.
Just wait, Tina. You can't be serious about this, right? I mean, you're really just going to abandon me during my time of need like this? Please, I had no idea that you were pregnant. That really would have changed everything. I promise that I'll change. I'll help you raise them well. You have to believe me.
We do not want you to have anything to do with our child at all, Rachel. That's the whole reason we're going to be moving as far away from you as we can. Just stay out of our lives and don't come looking for us. Do you understand?
So then you're really serious about all this? But I never even gave Dan permission to do this. You can't just leave me!
I'm afraid that we've already made up our minds and we're going to be moving out. That is final. Just remember that you're the one that's going to have to explain all this to your husband. You're going to have to tell him that you were so horrible to me that you pushed me and your son away to the point that we never want to see you again. In the end, Dan and I moved away. A few months later, we heard through the grapevine that Rachel was discharged and free to go back home, but that her husband was waiting for her there with divorce papers. She was in the hospital for so long recovering that you would have thought she learned some kind of lesson, but apparently it wasn't enough for her husband. Thankfully for her, the other driver in the crash was kind enough to not press any charges on Rachel, but she was still left all alone, without her husband, son, or grandchild. I have no idea how she's getting along now. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to see more content like this.